In this constantly changing world, life and personal values can seem more than a little unstable. Just when you think you have it all figured out, then everything changes. Sometimes life can seem overwhelming. Well, the good news is you can change your life. You have within you the power to learn how to flow with the changes and smooth out the bumps of life. You can experience the joy, peace, health, and abundance you deserve. You were created to be happy and productive. That urge to grow and express yourself was put there for a reason. Learn the spiritual principles that can help you not just to survive, but thrive in this changing world. At Unity, we'd like to help you do just that.
Imagine a spiritual path that honors the universal truths in all religions, that sees we are all one. Imagine a movement that respects each person's right to choose their spiritual path. Imagine a spiritual movement that empowers and unites rather than divides. This is Unity. For more than a century, Unity has offered a positive, practical, and progressive approach to understanding and applying the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters.
Welcome to the Unity of Chicago South Beyond Walls Spiritual Community Sunday Celebration live stream. We are simultaneously live streaming on various platforms. Previous celebrations are available on YouTube at Unity OCS. Thank you for bringing your consciousness to this space.
New Thought emphasizes the power of the mind and the use of spiritual principles to achieve personal growth and manifest one's desired reality. We believe every individual has the potential to tap into their inner spiritual connection to help them achieve their goals. Developing a comfortable understanding with one's 12 inherent spiritual powers is part of the path leading to a conscious spiritual connection. The subject of today's Talking the Fifth Interactive Open Forum is using your 12 spiritual powers. Join Reverend R. Ken and Unity of Chicago South online today, starting 11 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and at unityocs.org.
Sunday, April 30th. Daily Word. Simplicity. I pause to appreciate life's simplest blessings. Today, I give thanks for the simplest blessings, the small things that bring a smile to my lips and a warm feeling to my heart. A hug from a friend, a cuddle from a grandchild, or stroking the soft fur of a beloved pet fills my awareness with love. The sudden lift I get seeing a favorite person's handwriting in the mail, or the thrill of spotting a rainbow after a cleansing rain shower spark lasting happiness in my heart. These things and more remind me that true contentment is found in life's smallest moments, the everyday treasures that comprise daily life and draw me close to God. I focus on these simple blessings and grow in gratitude for my life's many gifts. Happy are the people to whom such blessings fall. Happy are the people whose God is the Lord. Psalms 144 verse 15.
Each and every person has inborn God-given powers. We can change our lives by learning to use these powers consciously and intentionally. The way we use or misuse these powers shapes our reality. Connect with your higher self. Connect with the divine.
Thank you in advance for supporting the Unity of Chicago South spiritual community mission to provide the message, Be Better to Do Better, with the financial support you contribute. And please share our work on your social media.
Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Okay, got a little audio together. It's all good. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the second Talking the 5th of 2023. Of course, I'm Ken, and I'm appreciative of the fact that you are here. I want you to know that we are live today with what do we say, Facebook and YouTube and all of that good stuff. I'm the minister here at Unity of Chicago South, the senior minister. We have two other ministers that participate on a regular basis, Reverend Dr. Stephanie and Reverend Bonnie. And this, as you know or you may not know, is a Beyond Walls community, meaning that we are global. We can go anywhere, anytime, reach anyone. Today, the subject of our live interactive forum is Charles Fillmore, who is the co-founder of Unity, his 12 Powers of Man. And as it has been promoted, it is how you can use your 12 powers. Now, what you may or may not know, each month we focus on a principle, one of the principles. And the month of April, which we are closing out right now, the principle is wisdom. The primary focus of our talks during that month, our affirmations of truth and our meditations, have been the spiritual principle of wisdom throughout this month. Today's live forum, and for those of you that may just be joining us for the first time, you may have seen some of the promotions and so forth that we put out. You might be on YouTube, you might be on Facebook. I want to give you a special welcome today, and remember to use your chat. We have worked it out, but when you go live, all of the working out sometimes is like, we didn't expect that, or whatever it may be. But again, the way it's set up is that our new platform is supposed to bring in any chats that come in from any of the other platforms. We've tested it again, as I said, but this is a live presentation, and Murphy's Law seems to be always lurking very near. Now, just a reminder again, if you're using Facebook or YouTube, use the chat feature to submit questions or comments. And questions and comments also can be texted to 773-876-8998. Again, that text number is 773-876-8998. Our new streaming platform is designed to do all of the things that we're offering. We'll see if it really works, to aggregate those and put them in a queue. And again, we'll see if it works live. Experimenting is one thing, testing is another thing, but being live, that's when the rubber, as one of my colleagues says, really hits the road. Now, if there are any glitches and you do submit some questions, we will do our best to retrieve and address them after the forum on the platform that you have used. So you can go back to YouTube and you'll find that if you put a question in, an answer will be there to your comment or to your question. And also the same is with Facebook. Wow, we have covered all the housekeeping. So right now, I'd like to remind you, right, that there is an infinite source available to everyone. It's there for each who seek it, no matter their race, their gender, or religion. You can believe what you may, but you should know that the source of the universe is also the source of each of us. Think about that. The source of the universe is also the source of each of us. That's oneness. So therefore, the principle supporting the stars is the principle supporting and available to each of us. As I declare this statement in the first person, I want you to know I declare it for all. I am open and receptive to this divine living principle. Father, Mother God, I am grateful. This is my declaration. This is my truth. And as I accept it, so it becomes. And all is well, and well indeed. There's a quote I want to share with you. You have within you a supply of energy limited only by your ability to discover and develop it. In mind, body, and spirit, you are endowed with capacities far greater than you know. This potential is intrinsic to your very being. Jesus called forth these 12 powers as he expressed perfectly his spiritual attributes. And so can you. One of Jesus's last instructions to others was, "The one who believes in me will also do the works that I do, and in fact, will do greater works than these." And that comes from John 14:12. To recognize and develop these qualities, you can study and observe them, relate to their presence in your physical body, and observe them through prayer and meditation. Constantly applying these powers will raise your level of awareness and your life experience. As you awaken your divine endowment, you are literally calling forth the positive, powerful current of the unlimited God idea within you. Now, that was adapted from the book, Your God-Given Potential by Reverend Winfred Wilkerson Hussman. And we have this adaptation from Adventures in Resilience, Ignite the 12 Powers in You to Create a Radiant Life by Sharon Connors. To give us a little input and a little background on the development of these principles, this method, this practice. She says, Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore, who strongly was influenced by the Transcendental Movement, went into a committed spiritual search. It led him to Eastern spirituality, which he integrated with the Christianity of his upbringing. He created the 12 power system more than a century ago. Now, based on the reality of the divine spark within you, he developed this for all people. Fillmore used the disciples of Jesus as exemplars of the 12 powers. The 12 powers provide a system for soul growth. Now, our minds can be linked to spirit through these 12 capacities. The notion that each of us holds the divine within us, that we have a spiritual nature along with our humanity is not new, but most of us don't have a method of developing our spiritual capacities. Again, that all was from the adaptation from adventures and resilience. Ignite the 12 powers in you to create a radiant life by Sharon Connors. Now, basically, it would be impossible to recreate the total methodology and motivation of the development of Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore's creation of the 12 power system. We could look at some of the information that could have been available to him in the development of the system, though. Starting with a Google search of numerology, it'll net us two relevant definitions for our purpose. One states it is a pseudoscientific belief in a divine or mystical relationship between a number and one or more coinciding events. It is also the study of the numerical value of letters in words, names, and ideas. It goes on to say that it is often associated with the paranormal alongside astrology and similar to the divinatory arts. Now, when we add the word biblical to our numerology search, the definition changes a bit. It tells us that biblical numerology is the use of numbers in the Bible to convey a meaning outside the numerical value of the actual number being used. Numerical numbers, numerical values in the Bible often relate to a wider usage in the ancient Near East. So it's telling us with this definition that the numbers were used to express more than just the number value themselves, even back in the ancient Near East. So let's stay along with it. Remember, we're kind of tracking how Charles Fillmore may have come up with this 12 powers of man system. I like to say the 12 powers of humans system. Now, as we move along and explore numbers in the Bible with a significant symbolic meaning, what we find is that the number 12 in the Bible stands out as one of the most pronounced, prominent ones in Scripture. It is said that it appears 187 times throughout the Old and New Testament. Wow. See, the number 12 in the Bible seemed to have a very important meaning to the Bible writers. So let's put that together. The numbers during these ancient times meant more than the numbers, and now we have the writers of the Bible using that concept to infuse them in the Bible. And as far as the number 12 is concerned, it was infused 100, I believe, and 87 times. You see, in most cases, it represents the number of perfection, talking about the number 12. It also signifies completion, which many of my New Thought colleagues know. Just for some examples, not 187, I guarantee you that. But in the Old Testament, we find examples such as Jacob had 12 sons, and they formed the 12 tribes of Israel. There were also 12 minor prophets in the Old Testament. There were 12 of several items to be placed in the tabernacle, 12 silver plates, 12 bowls, 12 bulls, 12 rams, and 12 male lambs. And that you find in Numbers 7. Now, there are other significant Bible figures, and we want to talk about them just for a minute, because the 12 is prominent again. Jacob wasn't the only one with the 12 princes or 12 tribes that came from his line. Ishmael, Abraham's son through his servant Hagar, also had 12 princes, or 12 tribes that came from his line. Just sit on that for a minute. Just for a minute. Now, I mentioned before 187 times in the Bible. Let's move into the New Testament. Jesus chose 12 disciples. Jesus healed a woman who had been bleeding for 12 years, found in Matthew. Jesus spoke at the temple at age 12. And when Jesus performed the miracle of feeding the 5,000, guess what? There were 12 baskets of food left over. Wow. Remember, we're on this journey with Charles Fillmore. We really can't be there with him, but we can presuppose some of the things that he had available to him as he developed this program over 100 years ago, the 12 Powers of Man. But it's not just in the Bible. He had more than that. It's possible that there's an anatomic influence that he may have had privy to. See, the number 12 is also found in the human body. 12 cranial nerves, 12 ribs on one side of the average human body, 12 systems of the human body, such as the cardiovascular and the digestive system. And finally, wow, the weight of blood is about 1/12 of our body. 12. 12. And let's take it a step further, this number 12. And there is the ubiquitous nature of the number 12 here in our lives. The number of months in a year, hours on the clock face, and the number of members in a typical court jury. So all in all, Charles Fillmore had a plethora of examples to support his development of his 12 powers system. The Bible, the human body, as well as the aforementioned ubiquitous nature of the number 12 in our daily life experience. All of that, we could say, resulting in the connecting of Bible characters with locations in the human body and the definition of the function of the spiritual principle, all to provide a system available to each and every human being on the planet to use in an effort to facilitate full expression of their own divine spark. The 12 powers of man. Wow. Now, you know, it really doesn't make a difference whether you accept or reject the idea of the existence or the possibility of you having or being able to access your own 12 powers, spiritual powers. The fact is that the system that the co-founder of Unity, Charles Fillmore, developed, known as the 12 Powers of Man, was not done as some type of whimsical endeavor. And that's so very important, because many times we in the New Thought metaphysical community, when challenged by the Orthodox community, say, well, you made it up, you did this, you did that. But we can see just with a brief tour of some of what Charles Fillmore had available to him to develop this 12 powers of man, there was a lot of substantial information, substantive information that was available to him to use to develop it. So with all of that said, I see that we haven't had any questions at this point, but we do have some questions that were sent in earlier, and I'd like to address them while we're waiting to see if anyone out there wants to join in the chat. The first question that was submitted earlier by email, and that was done through welcome2@unityocs.org, is what is the best way to activate spiritual principles so I can improve my life? Sounds like somebody who might have been working with New Thought and is looking to take the next step and make it more than just study, but make it part of their spiritual practice. And I do thank them for that question. I want to start with the understanding and the acceptance of the spiritual discernment always precedes the demonstration. The spiritual discernment, the understanding, always precedes the demonstration that we're looking for. And we could look at this like this is not the cart before the horse, but this is the horse before the cart. This is putting first things first, or a step-by-step concept being put in place. See, often many of us, I know, not the people that are watching today, but maybe, we often place our full focus on the goal or on the demonstration that we want. And it may do us better if we would focus on developing our understanding, our discernment, and then committing to a spiritual practice. And if we do that with the fact that we trust that the demonstration will follow, we will have wonderful results. Now, you said you might have, Reverend, did you say we might have wonderful results? We could have wonderful results. No, I didn't. I said we will have wonderful results. Now, that takes it out the realm of magic. We have to accept, understand, discern. Then we have to develop a practice, and then we have to have some trust, which I want to speak to you about. See, the trust must be supported by our work. So it's not just believing, and then praying. We have to do some work. Yeah, you may have heard the adage, faith without work is dead. Well, it is through focused mental energy or the dynamic power of the mind that we can release our own divine inner energy expression. And it is the release of that energy into our life experience which supports the direction of the demonstrations in our life experience. Say, whoa, what did you just say? Well, there's a trust factor, and we have to know the discernment that we are releasing an energy that will do the work. We have given it a foundation, a guidance pattern, right? Pattern to follow. This is the demonstration we want, whatever it may be. And now we must trust that if we do the work, then the demonstration will happen. We must trust. And our work is what? We have to have a spiritual practice. We have to change the way we think, change the way we talk, become part of that spiritual practice as part of our life. What do you mean by that? Well, if you I want peace in my life, and then you go out and you create a lot of hell for people, that's not extending your spiritual practice into your life. You must extend that peace that you say you want into the life that you are living. What we want to understand when I said you release this energy, the 12 powers, if we can see them as centers of dynamic energy that are housed deep in our subconsciousness and inherent in each of us at creation. So what does that mean? These energy sources, these powers, these 12 centers, these whatever you want to call them, however you need to refer to them, they are already implanted in us, found in our subconscious mind, and they were placed there as part of us as human beings at the point of creation. Wow. Just settle on that for a minute. Remember, the question was, how can I use this to have a better life? Well, each of us having these powers, centers in us, we also have an individual spiritual talent to express them in our dimension, demonstration, in a unique way. What does that mean? Well, I have 12, you have 12, your friends have 12, your family has 12, but each of us has a personality to go along with those 12. And if each of us follows the same practice, the demonstration will be different for each of us because our individual personality will impact the demonstration. Wow. Wow. Just sit on that. Now, this is a starting point of understanding and accepting that supports the expression of the demonstration in our life. This is the point. Understand the starting point. Start here. Remember, discernment first, demonstration later. Spend more time on the discernment part. From the discernment part, you develop a practice, with the practice being extended into your life experience, your life experience changing because of you inserting the practice. It's not just words anymore. I want peace. I now speak peace, talk peace, think peace. The demonstration of peace comes out of that work. How about that? Pretty easy, right? Take a sip of water. Not really, huh? The easy part of it is it's doable and it's available. And that's what Charles Fillmore's 12 Powers of Man lets us know, that anyone that's willing to do the work can have the demonstration. Let's take another question. And this one also came in earlier. I see, waiting for anything to come on the queue. If there's anything out there that hasn't come through here yet, I just want to let you know that. But as I mentioned at the very beginning, if you do put it in, we don't answer it, I will be going back into both queues, the Facebook and the YouTube queues, to see if there are questions that didn't come through, and they will be addressed. Is there a connection between 7 chakras and those 12 powers that we are supposed to have? Wow. That was a good one. That was a good one. I mentioned earlier in the development of Charles Fillmore's 12 power system, we were told that his search led him to Eastern spirituality. And I think it's fair to interject here that he could have easily encountered and developed an understanding, discernment before demonstration, of the presence of energy centers in the body. Now, chakra itself is a word that means wheel or cycle. And there are 7 main chakras situated along the spine, from the base of the spine to the crown of your head. It is an age-old belief, let me say, that has become integrated in some New Thought practices. What's that age-old belief? The chakra concept is an age-old belief that has been included in some New Thought practices. But we're talking about Charles Fillmore, we're speaking of over 100 years ago. he may have well been ahead of his time on this particular matter. Now, there are similarities between chakras and the 12 powers. They both reference color. As I mentioned, April, I'm wearing the color of April. You may see yellow. They both use colors. They both deal with locations in the body. And they both deal with releasing these energy centers into our life experience, manifest in a certain way. And I would say more importantly is that they are both anchored on the idea of being centers of energy and vibration. Centers of energy and vibration. And it is the ability to release the energy, the ability to connect our vibration to the vibration of the universe as a whole that creates the desired scenarios, that create the demonstrations that we all want. See, it's our ability to release with the minimal ego influence. With the minimal ego influence. Well, that's one of the reasons that we have meditation and prayer in our practice, to minimize our ego input in the release of the energy and the vibratory frequency that we want to connect with the universe. As we are able to do that, we're able to have more pure demonstrations. You say, what does that mean? I need to know what that means, Reverend. That's all good, but you can't be angry and hateful and talk about love. There's a vibratory energy in that hate and that being hateful. There's a vibratory energy, and you're asking that vibratory energy to express as something that it is not. So in our practice, if we move our ego out the way, okay, whatever we were mad at, whatever we were angry with, whoever it may be, if we release that and in turn release the vibrations without the ego influence, the demonstration of love is easier to express in our lives. Wow. Think about that. So many of us, not talking about you, but so many of us want the world to change without the change affecting us. And the fact of the matter is, our world cannot change until we change. I appreciate that question. I really do. And I hope that you too have an appreciation of it. I want to check the queue one. There's something there. Wow. Yeah, okay, let me see. As a regular religious person, can I use those 12 New Thought spiritual powers? They're not new, but anyway, let's see. What the question makes me assume that by saying the person is a regular religious person, they probably mean that they follow or practice an orthodox religious approach. So the first answer to your question is yes, you can. Done. See, the principle behind the 12 powers are spiritual and universal. Therefore, they're available to everyone. They're not restricted to a particular religion. It's more about developing a practice with an understanding of the principles as its foundation. Wow. Understanding the principles as its foundation. So I have a practice that understands that when I pray, when I meditate, before I release myself into the silence, before I release my energy into consciously release it into the universe, I must understand that my prayers and my meditation should be on a certain frequency, not on a frequency of lack, not on a frequency of not having, but on a frequency of knowing that all that I need and desire exists. I am not trying to create it. I am trying to touch its existence. You see, religions are created by humans, while spirituality, by its very nature, is beyond human creation. You know, as many master teachers, which is what Jesus was, as they attempt to convey the fact that spirituality is available to every person. Think about it. Think about it. They don't have, the writers in the book don't have Jesus just talking to the religious people trying to convert them. He has them interacting with everyone because of spirituality. This inner spark is there with everyone, and the ability to touch it, the spirituality aspect, is there for everyone. It's not something that we need to try to create like religion, but instead it's something that requires development. That's what our practice is all about. That's our spiritual practice. That's our prayer. That's our meditation. That's our release of our vibrations, of positive vibrations into a positive universe. That's the development. And what Charles Fillmore did, he studied and worked to provide a system that any human, regardless of their background or their life situation, can use to change the direction of their life. And anyone, my friend, includes you. I appreciate you getting through and submitting that question to today's Talking the Fifth live forum. I don't see another one. Let me go back to one that was brought in earlier. This has been going on for, I guess we've been promoting it for about 3-4 weeks. So we have some questions that did come in from people who saw some of the promos that were out there. Yeah, well, the question is, what is the purpose of this Talking the Fifth forum? That is a good question. What are we doing and why are we doing it? See, our ministry is a Beyond Walls spiritual community, and it does have a global reach, but there are challenges in connecting people with people. See, that people interaction is a major aspect to the spiritual experience of many individuals. So what Talking the Fifth is a way that we can offer the opportunity for that live people-to-people connection, even though it's online. What we think that this open forum gives people not just the opportunity to connect, but to do so while having an interactive experience with the ministers by being able to ask questions and so forth. And the fact is that there are only a few Fifth Sundays in a year, so we're looking at the possibility of doing other things to expand that idea of live connection beyond the Talking the Fifth Sunday events. Okay. I see we have one more question. Okay. How does the practice of the 12 powers work? I think that's just a great place to have one more question, right? Well, the way Charles Fillmore referred to it, he referred to it as something called regeneration, and a short definition of regeneration from his dictionary of metaphysical terms, which we know as the revealing word, says that regeneration is a change in which abundant spiritual life is incorporated into the body. A way that abundant spiritual life all around us, all over the place, everywhere we look, there's a spiritual life, and we're able to regenerate ourselves by incorporating this energy into the body. It's a unification of spirit, soul, and body in what he says is spiritual oneness, or what he often refers to as the Christ ideal. Now, through conscious work with the subconscious phase of mind, we can open a portal. Let's stop. Conscious work with the subconscious phase of mind. There is within us a phase of mind, an inner phase of mind. I heard earlier this week it was referred to as the reptile aspect of our brain. But in this subconscious, all that we have ever experienced, all that the universe is contained. And that's a big statement, but it's contained. And what his 12 powers, Fillmore 12 powers of man does is attempt to open a portal, but we do it by consciously focusing on doing it. So we consciously say, my prayer, my meditation is connecting me with the universe, and therefore my prayer, my meditation must be the demonstration that I want, even though it's not present in my life now, the peace, the love, the whatever. That's where my focus of prayer and prayer and meditation is, for the demonstration that I want, the peace and love that I want. He's saying that this process, this regenerative process, when we pray and meditate on the love or whatever it is we want, has an inner effect on us. And it also has a release in the subconscious mind of the attainment of the thing that we want, because it's already in existence. I don't want to get too deep this Sunday. This would be a class, and we're not having class. We're just kind of having a forum where hopefully we're just exchanging some energies and getting some ideas about this practice called New Thought. And when we open that portal of the subconscious, it's able to connect with the universal vibrations. And that's when we get back to an earlier question about ego. And when we don't, or when we're able to minimize the ego and release what already is with what already is in the universe, that then comes back to our lives. We incorporate it in our body and our soul, but we're releasing it. We're releasing it in order for it to get all that it needs to incorporate that which we want in us. Wow. Now, I said the reptilian, I think I said the reptilian brain. Fillmore called it the primal creative force. And we can align it with the vibrations of the creative forces out here. And when we do this, we awaken our inherent, and this is what I was speaking of, spiritual powers, and we consciously connect to the unlimited possibilities of the universe. And I know this is deep because that in itself is beyond a finite capacity to conceive the power, not only out there, but within us. Wow. Wow. Well, we have come to the end of this Talking the Fifth. I want to thank you for being here with us for this second edition of that Talking the Fifth. And I do invite you to join us on Sundays at 11 a.m. Central Time for our live stream celebration. And if you would like to receive weekly notification of our activities, email us with the email or text that we should use to deliver information to you. It's whether you email. Very simple. Welcome, WELCOME, to TO at unityofchicago.org. And I want you to remember that you truly are a spiritual, human, living experience. Wow. And you have the option to balance the blend of human and spirit to develop and to bring forth the experience that you want. And you can do this at any time, no matter your circumstances or situation. Well, until next time, this is Reverend R. Ken saying, I see the divinity in you and you and you. Namaste.